your purpose finds you in the most roundabout way. So I grew up in Portsmouth, Virginia. It's about 90 minutes south of Richmond, Virginia. And I grew up my mom was a teacher, my dad was an electrician, alcoholic, in and out of jail. So a low income family. And one of the big things that defined my family was my brother ended up being incarcerated for 15 years. And that started this journey for my family of going in and out of prison facilities. And I remember vividly the very first one I ever walked in, and that feeling was palpable, like, this is just undignified. It caused so much emotional angst for me as a person, as a young person, and then for my family for years to come. And every year I started thinking about this experience from other people's perspectives. My mother's, other people's family, children, the guards, the men who were in this prison facility. So that stayed with me. Fast forward, I go to college, and I need to get financial aid, and I didn't get it. So I had this light bulb moment where I'm going to join the military. And I joined the military. I get stationed in Wichita, Kansas, and shortly after that, September 11th happened, and I'm on my first of 5 deployments in the Middle East. And I'm at a Bear base, Al Udeid Air Base in Doha, Qatar, and I'm in Tent City. And Tent City is nothing but an abyss of sand and rows of tents lined up. So I'm in this tent with about 13 other women, and I wanted to cry. And I had no privacy. So I took some sheets and I hung it from the top of the tent, and I made 3 sheet walls. And that was the first space I ever created. But I was like, I want to do this thing where I create spaces for people that make them feel something. And that was interior design. So it kind of came full circle for me, where it was life that guided me to the profession, or this craft, and this need for comfort in my space and solace. I always like to speak in affirmations. I know what's next is 2 things. One is academia. I think change and impacts happens when you start in education. When I say that, I mean at the collegiate level, but also thinking about high school, middle school, elementary school. There's a lot of talk now about, architects not designing inhumane facilities like death chambers. But what about all these minimum security prison facilities that still exist? Those are equally and still to this day undignified. They've yet to be elevated, and no one's yet to address the design of prison facilities. That's what's next. And January of 2020, I just so happened to come to VCU to speak, and I do my little spiel. And I'll give VCU credit. They had a very diverse student body in this lecture I gave. And there were 2 Black girls, and one of them raised their hand, and she said to me, "You were the first designer of color I've ever seen." And I was thinking about quitting the program because I didn't want to go into a profession where I was going to always be the only. And I was like, damn, that's sad. Could you imagine, after investing thousands of dollars into an education, a possible career path, and because you don't see someone who looks like you don't think it's for you, and you don't want to go down that path? I felt that for her. And right then, for me, it was, this is where they need to see me. And I think the universe knew too, and it just so happened VCU reached out to me and asked if I wanted to be an adjunct faculty member, and I started teaching here in the fall of 2020. And it was one of those things, like, had she not spoke up, used her voice, shared her story, I wouldn't be teaching. So that she changed the trajectory for me quite a bit. It's so simple. It's very simple. This is what I say. BYOB. Bring your own Black person. Or bring your own ex. whatever, right? Was a third, right? As a business owner, you got to get your revenue from 3 places. Your operating costs need to be a third. You need to apply that same model to the diversity of your team across gender, age, race, everything. And then do the work to find the type of candidate you need. But I want to go back to what can business owners do if they can't find that person of color to hire. Then figure out ways to build partnerships with other minority-led firms and agencies. You don't have to hire everyone, but you can establish relationships with other entities, organizations, other small to mid-sized firm or a smaller firm. That's another path. Jennifer Kolstad, I think she's a past chair of ASID. She talks a lot about like coalition building, and to do that, it's not going to the same folks that you've been using time after time again, but it's also thinking outside the box, right? What community-based organizations can you partner with who might have a non-traditional way of thinking? That'll help you create a more equitable design outcome. You're not designing it like it's for you. And I think this is where the diversity in teams matter, because if you are so far removed from the community that you're serving that it is not making you objective to doing an elevated design outcome, then you are doing a disservice to the people. This is why diversity matters. And if you don't have the team, you bring in the teams and the collaborative people to help you care a little bit more, and to push the needle.